Okay, look, we're all friends here. Many a time now I've uploaded a video on this thing called the Internet, and you guys have enjoyed hearing what I have to say about something related to the world of Robot Wars. However, there have been times where some of you have disagreed on my opinion on something, and that's perfectly fine. We're all human, we can all have opinions that are unpopular with the majority of people out there, and we shouldn't be chastised for it. For a while now, I've had many a thing to say about our favourite Robot Combat TV show that, for one reason or another, I've kept to myself. Well, now it's time to break that box wide open and release the spice that's inside. These are in no particular order, by the way, I'm just listing them freely. And remember, these are just my opinions, so don't be a prick. Of course, feel free to voice your personal opinions in the comments in a fair, constructive way, and I'll get right on to not giving a flying fuck. I'm Manson9132, the Robot Wars Guru, and these are some of my Robot Wars hot takes. First up, the 10-way rumble from Series 10 isn't that good, guys. At the time of my life where Series 10 of Robot Wars was aired, I was firmly a part of the Robocast podcast, and you want to know what the main thing I heard during those podcasts was? That the 10-way rumble in the grand final was epic. And why wouldn't it be? Annihilators were always fun with just 6 robots. Imagine how amazing a brawl with 10 robots would be. When the episode aired, I saw many comments on social media saying it was the best battle ever, and numerous Roboteers kept on saying how epic it was. It was literally a bunch of robots driving down the pit whilst Eruption hid in a corner and then flipped over 2 half-dead robots to win. Now that's what I call excitement. I get it, if you were a Roboteer who was part of this battle, I can imagine it was an amazing experience, but to actually watch? No. Just no. It's not a bad battle by any means, but best of the series? Not even close. Speaking of overhyped battles, good god people, you do be over-exaggerating how good Razer vs Hypnosis would have actually been. And you know what, I do get it to a certain extent. Both machines were easily the pioneers of destruction in their heyday, and the idea of seeing these two beasts meet in the war zone had almost everyone's mouth salivating. Hell, it was even the most voted for battle in the hyped but ultimately dropped People's Challenge special in Extreme 1, but being honest, I don't think it would have been that good of a fight. It would have gone one of 2 ways. Either Razer would nom 3 holes in Hypnosis and then pit it, or win by the judges, or Hypnosis would hit Razer 2 or 3 times and win via KO. Not exactly thrilling stuff. Both teams respected each other's robots too much to just go willy-nilly and wreck their opponents, so it would be just a simple battle of who gets the first hit in. The main reason the People's Challenge special didn't happen in Extreme 1 is because both teams declined the chance to fight, saying it wasn't worth risking the damage for a fight without any real stakes involved, which is a perfectly fair take on the situation. With this in mind, it's easy to see why I think this fight wouldn't be the bloodbath everyone thinks it would have been. Moving on to something a bit easier to explain, Julia Reed was better than Philippa Forrester. I admit, Philippa was great in the first 3 series of Robot Wars. She was bubbly, sweet, and seemed to be a good laugh to be around who genuinely was interested in robots. Then she went away for a bit and came back a sarcastic, bland, and quite frankly rude interviewer. Julia Reed gets a lot of crap, but being honest, I didn't mind her at all. I've heard that apparently she wasn't really interested in robotics, but I would never have been able to tell. She was enthusiastic, funny, and had great chemistry on camera with the Roboteers. Sure, she got a few facts wrong, but so did JP, Craig Charles, Angela Scanlon, Dara O'Brien, and oh yeah, Philippa! It's a shame that Julia didn't stick around after Extreme 1 because I would have rather seen her interviewing teams over this snooty lass any day of the week. Sticking with the topic of pit girls, I feel really bad for Jane Middlemiss. To be fair, I myself was once guilty of this one. I found her to be annoying and out of place in Robot Wars. Her constant over-enthusiasm and questioning what robots did despite it being clear as day was a little difficult to sit through. However, having watched it back, being honest, she's fine. In fact, I give her credit for being genuinely interested in the TV show and sport rather than just being there to do a job and collect a paycheck. Her bubbly personality and smile were contagious, and I found her an enjoyable change compared to her predecessors. Do I think she was better? That's debatable, but she certainly doesn't deserve the crap she's gotten over the years. Sorry Jane, I was young and stupid. Now I'm just stupid. So I've discussed robots, battles, and presenters, so I guess it's time to bring episodes into the equation. Many fans remember the first Annihilator from Extreme 1 to be one of, if not the best Annihilator of the lot, and I agree. What I don't agree with, however, is that the second Annihilator of the same series was bad, because it really wasn't. Yes, production-wise it was plagued with issues. 2 of the original qualifying robots had to pull out, and along the way both Napalm and Panic Attack took so much damage they had to pull out also. This resulted in a 3-battle-long Annihilator and a random grudge match between Bigger Brother and Come and Getrix being thrown in to pad out the episode. On paper, that sounds shite, but in actuality it was decent. The first round battle saw some great spectacle as both Napalm and Hippopotamus got destroyed by Disco Inferno, whilst the remaining 3 robots grappled together. The second battle was one of the closest 4-way melees in the show's history right up until Steel Avenger got upended. The final was a fun, carnage-filled spectacle, and the grudge battle, whilst pointless, was entertaining. Again, I plan to review this one day, so I'll keep it short, but I certainly feel this episode doesn't get the love it deserves. Now time for one that I know will make most of you scratch your head. How can I put it? I like Cassius Chrome. I get why many don't. As far as house robots go, it wasn't exactly strong or deadly, but it was fun and original. I'm a fan of boxing, so maybe I'm slightly biased, but I like the gimmick and look of Cassius Chrome. It was also, quite shockingly, the quickest of the house robots at 20 miles per hour, and its punching fist had enough power behind them to send 100-kilo robots skidding across the arena floor. Yeah, they weren't damaging weapons, but they fit the design well. Many people moan that Cassius Chrome wasn't destructive enough to be a house robot, but remember now, this was the same series where Sergeant Bash struggled to push competitor robots and Shunt couldn't even axe through a wooden robot. Also, I ask you, can you think of something different? Honestly, by this point, what weapon type or design hadn't been utilised by the house robots? At least Cassius Chrome had an original weapon setup which looked good on camera. I highly doubt any of its haters could think of a better weapon or gimmick for it. My next one is something I think many people are aware of now, but so many people disagree with me that I have to include it on this video. I like Beastie Bob Min more than Roadblock. And no, it's not just rose-tinted glasses at play here. I get why many fans prefer Roadblock. It was the first ever champion of Robot Wars, it completely steamrolled Series 1 and would have done the same in Series 2 had the house robots not got in the way. It was an iconic machine for sure, but when you look at it, it was a very bland wedge. They didn't even bother painting it. That's fine, it was a product of its time, but people who know me know that I like good looking, original and fun designs, so is it really that hard to see why I like Beastie Bob Min more? I'm a huge fan of mythological creatures, so seeing the Bob Min team take advantage of their town's folklore and creating this beast was good to see. Its winking, blinking eyes were a silly gimmick, sure, but they were memorable and something we had never seen before. The reason Heat Hive Series 3 got me hooked on robot combat was because the designs of the robots fascinated me. I doubt I would have been half as interested if a road sign on wheels had won the heat. Some may think Beastie Bob Min was a step down, but being honest, I don't think Roadblock would have done any better. The times were changing and I'm glad Bob Min Community College gave us one last series with something different. Okay, time to bring out a big one. I actually enjoy the Series 4 Celebrity Special, and yes, it's way better than both Battle of the Stars episodes we got in Series 9 combined. And honestly, I don't get why everyone hates this episode so much. Yeah, the battles are a bit messy and the house robots are completely rogue here, but take a minute, breathe, and think. It's an episode of Robot Wars where celebrities are driving the robots. If you're going to have a concept as silly as that, it needs to be a silly episode that isn't taken too seriously. This is where the reboot failed in my opinion, because they took this stupid concept and tried to pass it off as a legit competition. The result was a bunch of dull battles with uninteresting celebrities, if you can call them that, standing around doing nothing remotely interesting. At least in this celebrity special we got to see actual competitor robots fighting it out. Sure, they were pimped out in weird decorations, but that just adds to the charm and silliness, let's be real here. I'd rather see Gemini look like a 2-bit hooker than see a bunch of bland stock robots bumbling around. It's not a masterpiece of an episode or anything, but I've seen many people say it's one of the worst episodes in the show's history, which is utter bollocks. Watch it again without taking it too seriously and you might be pleasantly surprised. And just before you guys sharpen your pitchforks and light your torches, I have enough time for one last hot take. And this is a big one because it's perhaps the one thing that everyone I've spoken to on the matter agrees with. Except me, of course. You ready? Here goes. Gemini winning the Series 4 Pinball Warrior Tournament wasn't controversial and everyone needs to stop crying about it. Many people think it was unfair and unsporting for a robot that can literally be in 2 places at once to take part in the pinball, as it gave them an advantage. Where most machines would have to focus on each obstacle one at a time, Gemini could focus on 2 at a time. And you know what? I don't honestly see a problem with that. I used to, but then when rewatching it one day I heard JP say this.
This is a great run by Gemini, perhaps built for the Pinball Warrior Tournament.
And that essentially sums up why I don't think this was a bad thing. In short, Gemini's design made it the perfect candidate to take on the pinball trial. I don't hear people crying about 101 or Spawn of Scudder taking part, despite their designs being suited well for the pinball. I never once heard anyone getting upset about Stinger being able to escape the pit despite no other robots being able to do so. Another way to look at it is this. Imagine if Gemini had competed in the Sumo Basho in the same series. Shun would have had no issue shoving out 1/2 in seconds, meaning Gemini would have had one of the worst runs of the series. I doubt people would complain about Gemini having a disadvantage due to its design not being suitable for Sumo, so why are so many people upset when it was allowed to enter a tournament that its design benefited from? That's like moaning that Exterminator and Behemoth did well in the Sumo because they had a scoop. Not only was Gemini's pinball win deserved, but it was completely fair in my opinion. Also, its pinball run was easily one of the more entertaining runs of the series. Just saying. And that's it for these takes and this video. I would ask if you agree with me, but I'm almost certain most of you don't. Feel free to tell me how wrong I am in the comments, and I'll get right on to not caring. I'm Anderson913, the Robot Wars Guru, and I'll see you next time.